Alrighty team, it is the latest bike to join the inferno that is the small capacity adventure market, but Kawasaki's KLE500 from a quick Google is confusing a lot of people. Let's discuss why, and why specifically it is not the adventure unicorn that some people hoped, and why it never was going to be. So, Kawasaki's freshly unveiled KLE500 has the internet buzzing, but not all the noise is positive, especially if you're from Kawasaki's corner looking in. Sure, it's great to see a Japanese brand finally revive a nameplate with serious potential, and it's long overdue in my books for Kawasaki to bring the KLE500 back, but the spec sheet has left a lot of riders scratching their heads. With confusion over who this bike is actually aimed at, it's clear to me that the new KLE500 isn't quite what the internet commentators were thinking it was going to be, and it isn't what they think it is. Let's break down the specification of the KLE500 to work out who Kawasaki is targeting with the new machine and why it isn't the experienced ADV rider searching for their unicorn. Like history repeating, the new KLE500 uses Kawasaki's Ninja 500 parallel twin engine, just like the original did way back in 1991. This engine is known as pretty solid. It's using a 360-degree firing order instead of the now more commonly used 270-degree unit found in bikes such as the Tenere 700 and CF Moto 450MT. Kawasaki hasn't revealed power figures, with only a steep graph showing power versus torque for us to go by in terms of what the engine might feel like. Now, I've not ridden a Kawasaki twin since the Ninja 400, so I can't comment on what it may feel like, but I'm banking that Kawasaki will have retuned this engine from what is found in the Ninja 500, specifically for more mid-range. That's where everyone tunes their bikes, especially for these off-road adventure touring focused bikes, not for the peak power that a sports bike has. I am also banking that this will feel unique in the segment because, again, it's got that 360-degree firing order, so it's not going to be pretending to give the V-twin experience out of a parallel twin engine, and I think that's a plus. Now, according to the official spec sheet released by Kawasaki, the new KLE500 has a ground clearance of 175mm or 17.5 centimeters. That's about that big. That's pretty low in terms of breakover angle and could see the KLE500 getting hung up on more challenging terrain, which points to me as it being set for a more beginner-friendly machine rather than an all-out trail warrior. That's reinforced when you look at the suspension. Sure, it's got 210mm of travel at the front, but even Kawasaki's promotional footage and B-roll makes it look like it is more softly damped and not rock hard and ready to leap across ditches. There's also no mention of adjustability, which is, not competitive with the likes of the 450MT. Sure, you've got preload adjustment on the rear to adjust it for a pillion or luggage, but that appears to be all you're getting with the suspension in the new KLE. But hey, suspension shops do need to be kept in business after all, so if you want extra tuning out of your suspension, you can always go to your trusted suspension specialist and they can sort you out. From looking at the chassis specs, the KLE500 looks like it'll be a solid gravel and dirt road bike, but tight single track might be pushing its design limits somewhat. Instead of putting effort into performance, Kawasaki has focused its efforts instead on making the new KLE as user-friendly as possible on a budget. Effort has been put into ensuring the KLE500 has a comfortable seat, something the KLE300 certainly didn't have in my opinion, and customizable ergonomics to suit a wide array of riders. Add to that a rather stylish looking trellis frame offering a sturdy platform for luggage, and it's got quite a lot of appeal to it. The windscreen is adjustable with 3 positions, the aluminium fat style handlebar is designed to reduce vibration and is nice and wide, giving lots of leverage, and the 860mm seat height features a unique hollow construction designed to make mile munching easier. There's also 4 separate customizable seat positions between the high and low versions of both the rider and pillion seats, so you can tailor that really quite heavily on what you want. In a first for Kawasaki, the foot peg rubbers can be removed without tools, which honestly, the fact they didn't do that on the KLR 650 first when they redesigned that a couple of years ago is quite perplexing. Now, there's a lot of unknowns here with Kawasaki's press release, missing out two big factors, which I suspect Team Green are yet to finalise and are trying to tweak to be as good as they possibly can be. That being the all-important weight factor, which adventure riders are going to scrutinise and obsess over, and perhaps more importantly, the recommended retail pricing of the KLE500. Now, this bike is joining perhaps the most competitive segment in all of motorcycling currently, with the CF Moto 450 MT currently having huge sales leads over its closest competitors like the Royal Enfield Himalayan 450, KTM's new 390 Adventure, and the Honda NX500. Kawasaki has to be competitive not only in spec with these machines, but also on affordability and appeal. It has to offer something these machines don't, and that is a Japanese offering with a 21-inch front wheel. That's where I think the appeal is going to be with this bike, which Honda doesn't offer, Suzuki doesn't offer, and Yamaha doesn't offer in this category. Whether rightly or wrongly, people assume that Japanese brands are better quality than bikes made elsewhere, and that is where the selling point of the KLE500 is going to be, not its overall specification. Kawasaki is not targeting the new KLE500 at experienced adventure riders and hardcore off-roaders. It's far from the unicorn ADV that they want, and it never was going to be. As much as we'd like to think it, the market cannot sustain a bike targeted to be the very best in that class. Sure, any manufacturer worth their salt could produce a bike that meets the internet's expectations for what a unicorn could be, but they don't. That's because it doesn't make financial sense to do so. Firstly, the Kawasaki KLE500 as an example. If Kawasaki produced the most off-road capable and lightweight small capacity adventure twin, the price would likely be astronomical compared to its competitors. Remember, this is going up against the likes of the 450 MT. That's priced at under $10,000 here in New Zealand. It is incredibly affordable, and that is part of why it is such a sales success. If you throw the best of all the tech you can, the best suspension, best ground clearance, and a high-performance engine, quickly your price is going through the roof. Next, adding all those key components, high suspension travel, high ground clearance, you're cutting out shorter riders or riders of smaller stature, and the entry-level riders can't get in there. A mass appeal bike is where the money is, and as much as we want to think it, if you make a really niche product, you're only going to be able to sell it to the niche that wants that product. Mass market appeal is where it is at sales success time, and no manufacturer is going to take the risk of building a bike that is so hardcore no one's going to buy it. So the Kawasaki KLE500 isn't what internet commentators thought it was going to be, and that's all right. It is the Japanese 21-inch front-wheeled adventure twin that a lot of people have wanted. They want that Japanese nameplate and Japanese reliability, and that's fine. That's what Kawasaki has given us. Whether it's going to be a success, well, we're going to need to wait for those weight figures and, more importantly, how much it's going to cost. But I'm applauding Kawasaki for bringing the KLE500 back because, let's face it, the KR650, it's an old dog and its appeal has lessened since its rebirth. So, parallel twins are it. Let's see how it goes. Do you agree? Jump in the comments, let me know. Let's have a discussion.